This is Marketing Jam, a show featuring the brightest minds in marketing.
Brought to you by Canada Post. Head to canadapost.ca/insight podcast for ideas to add value to your marketing.
Well, I'm going to welcome everyone to the next episode of Marketing Jam. A huge thank you and shout out to Canada Post and their Insight magazine for supporting the show and allowing a show like this to happen, to exist. Insight magazine can be sent to your agency's office, your brand's office, even your home, your clients' offices with tons of information, ideas, case studies, really incredible data. And really, what I love the most is case studies all around the world, things that make you go, huh? And things that make you just stop and pause for a moment and think, why didn't I think of that? Or how can I incorporate that into what I'm doing right now with the product or the services that we offer as a brand or what we're doing for our clients? So Insight Magazine, subscribe for free, link in the bio, of course. Without further ado, I'm so excited for this week's episode. We have Daryl, who is a friend, and we've known each other a long time here in the Vancouver marketing agency community, and he's going to be joining us to share some pretty exciting news that impacts the marketing world of Canada and beyond. So, Daryl, thank you for joining us here today.
Yeah, really happy to be here with you, Darian. I always love talking to you, whether it's just us in passing, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call, or while we're on stage together at a keynote speech or a workshop that we're doing.
Yeah, we met, like I knew about you and knew of your website and saw the work that you were putting out for groups like White Spot and Save on Foods. And then we were at UBC on a panel of some sort or something like that. And we met in the green room eating like chocolates or apples or something. And Pang introduced us, which I thought was so awesome.
Yeah, that was really awesome. Lots of change since that time, eh?
Yeah. So Daryl, tell us about the news, man. This is really exciting. I think everyone listening and watching who owns an agency or works in an agency would love to hear the news that you want to share with the world today.
Yeah, so as of a month ago, my partner and I, Alex Chan, and I have decided to be acquired by a company called Thinkingbox, who is a Vancouver-based digital experiential marketing agency.
Wow.
And we looked at all the options and thought that this was a really good move. And as of a month ago, we signed and everything's done.
Oh, that's incredible. So you and Alex, how long ago did you start AntiSocial?
We started AntiSocial just under 7 years ago. And it's been a really exciting path of growth, of learning, of learning new skill sets that come along with starting a company and fostering creatives underneath you. And couldn't be happier about this move. It took about 6 months for us to go through the negotiation process, the discovery process, ask the right questions, and then obviously all the fun stuff with the lawyers and the paperwork.
Wow. No, did you ever imagine like 7 years ago that this day would happen? Like, was this the goal when you started?
Absolutely not. This was definitely not something that I saw as a potential exit or a potential path for the company. Not that we've exited the company. We're still very much on board on the wider Thinkingbox team. I think when we first started this company, what was really the long-term goal of this, which I think this decision actually helps take us closer to that goal, was to be able to put out the best creative work representing companies that needed digital marketing support. When we first started, we were working with a lot of small brands, mom and pop shops. And as the years went on, we started to be lucky enough to attract the attention of some of the larger provincial and then national and then international brands. And for us, that mindset of helping that brand take what they're doing and market it online in the most efficient, trending, and most return on investment way was and is still what we're going to continue to do moving forward.
That's incredible. So did you have other suitors coming your way, knocking on your door? Or was this one of the first that you kind of did that?
Yeah, well, it's funny. We actually had zero interest in this or didn't even see it as an option. And then within 6 months in 2019, the last 6 months, we got approached by 3 companies.
Wow.
All within a month and a half of each other. And it was weird. It was like we were wondering if they were talking to each other, or if there was another thing out there that we didn't know was happening in the marketing world. But it just all came fast and furious. And what it did do is force me and Alex to really take a step back, look at what we were doing for the company, look at our long-term goals for ourselves personally, as well as for the agency and the industry and our staff, and go, if we have three offers, what is the best move forward? Do we even entertain these offers? Do we just continue trucking along? Because we were doing well and still very much believed in what we were doing. But it forced us to think about it, and ultimately we decided on one of those proposals.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, for you guys now, like what is kind of the emotions you went through? Tell us about kind of the roller coaster of, like, you know, the fear of it, the concern, like what was it going through? Because I don't think many of us have gone through that experience that are listening to the show.
Yeah, well, I think there's a fear that I think all entrepreneurs can relate to, which is the fear of losing complete control of your company, and it is for us just the fear. We've realized after the acquisition that we didn't lose any control. We actually were empowered, but before that, you obviously, you think about all the things that you enjoy as a business owner, as someone who can come in, do whatever they want, and then leave whenever they want. But as any entrepreneur knows, you don't ever really leave, and you're working 24/7. So that was something that was a fear that we both had to go through. But I think what I can do to better explain my mindset there during this process is there was really three check boxes that me and Alex looked at as the utmost important and in making this decision. So the three check boxes that we needed to have checked off before we were comfortable moving forward was, the first one is, does this align with our personal goals? Mm-hmm. And Darian, you know me, when it comes to staffing and the way that I treat my team and think about our teams, Alex is the exact same way. When we say our personal goals, this is the first time that Alex and I have looked at our personal goals in over 2 years, at least, where the goal of the team and the agency didn't come before us. In this scenario, though, it is very important to see if this aligns with your personal goals. Yeah. So for me and Alex, this did align with our personal goals. Both of us love what we're doing. However, we needed a little bit of financial freedom for some of our personal goals. Myself, my marriage, I want to start a family. Being an agency owner, I'm sure a lot of agency owners can relate as well. It's a competitive world, and it's one that is not as, let's say, profitable as a product-based company. If we scale, the only way to scale is through good people and good creative talent, and your costs go up if you scale. Yeah. So personal goals, it could check that box. The second box I had to check was, does this take AntiSocial forward as a digital marketing agency within our industry? So we wanted to look to see if, by acquisition, do we get to work on better clients? And by better clients, I don't mean our current clients are not good. I mean better as in, do we get to work with clients that value our time a little bit more, where we can move forward with initiatives that maybe other clients would have never even entertained, just because based on budget alone. It also meant for the agency, do we get to work on a bigger, diverse range of clients? And being a digital marketing agency like Jelly and like a lot of our friends, we can work in dozens of industries at the same time because our approach to content, it works across multiple industries. However, specifically to this checkbox, we wanted to make sure that we work within the right industries moving forward. And the acquisition by Thinkingbox allows us, and we have been working with some really exciting clients that we would have never had the opportunity to work on.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Thinkingbox, what are some of the clients they work with, that just to give some context?
Yeah, so Thinkingbox, they work with Pinterest, they work with Ford, they work with Riot Games, Starbucks, Happy Egg. These guys, in terms of the client base, they have quite a few years on us as well. We're 6.5, 7 years old. They're 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Another one of the points for moving our agency forward is, does it allow us to expand on our service offering? Mm-hmm. So as a digital agency, we offered 4 departments: web, social, content production for digital, and then digital ad buy. So in being acquired by Thinkingbox, we get folded into their team as their digital marketing team now. So they never were able to offer our services, but now obviously we have that experience that they can take their existing client base and put it on. And then for us, we can now refer out experiential marketing work to some of the best in the business.
Yeah. So it really is a win-win-win, even for your existing clients.
Exactly. Oh yes, and that's a great point, Darian. That's something for us that was really important. As when it moves AntiSocial forward, does it include moving our clients forward as well?
Yeah.
And even since then, we've been able to introduce our clients to the Thinkingbox team, and they're already working on some really exciting projects that we normally would have had to either work with another agency on with our clients or completely outsourced ourselves. And then the third box, and perhaps I think for myself, the most important box to check is, does this move and give opportunities to our staff in professional development? Does it move them forward? So with Thinkingbox, they have an HR team that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I was never a fan of having to deal with HR. I think every time we met up, that was one of my gripes.
Yes.
60% of my workday is HR now, or prior to acquisition. So it gives our team those resources that we would never had the ability to give if it was just Alex and myself. Also, when it comes to structure and moving up within the industry and learning more, they now get to have the options of moving to an office in Toronto, in LA, in New York, in Salt Lake City. And their professional development basically goes from here to here. Not to say AntiSocial couldn't have helped them. We were doing our best, but we just simply were from an owner, an operator standpoint, already maxed on time, and so we couldn't. I think the opportunities we could give our staff now are much more, have much higher ceiling.
Yeah. And I know you, and you're a humble guy in a lot of ways. Like you are not quick to boast. So this is gonna be a hard question for you. What did Thinkingbox see in you? Like, what do you describe what they saw in you? Like, what did you do? What are the boxes that you checked that made them fall in love with you and swipe right or swipe left on you? I'm
already can still feel my sweat glands going. I'm already uncomfortable from this question. I think let me think about this. One of the things that Thinkingbox really liked about us was our culture. So our team members, the way that we approach their mental well-being, their interests, what they do out of office, our work from home policies, all of these things that are so integral to the AntiSocial culture over the years. For Thinkingbox, it looked very familiar. And for them, they had a very, very robust staff activities program, culture building program. So for us, I think we check that box. Another thing that they really liked about us is the in-house talent. So Thinkingbox is a company that doesn't use contractors at all. They will use a contractor only if a client wants a very specific look. Yeah. And they've seen that look with a specific contractor. Other than that, Thinkingbox uses an all in-house team and prides themselves on the team, so that when they come up with a strategy, they turn, the producer can turn around in their desk, look at the designer and go, hey, we want to change these things. The same thing rings true for AntiSocial. We have always had in-house talent only. So our photographers, our videographers, our graphic designers, our developers, they are salaried employees that work out of our office. And I think for Thinkingbox, that was extremely important because it allowed them to continue down the same type of business structure and reputation for having in-house talent that they already have.
Wow.
I also think that we had a lot of female leadership, to be honest. If you look at the Thinkingbox senior leadership team, all of their managing directors are females, and they have a very strong presence in their office of females. And for AntiSocial, it's something that we've also prided ourselves on. So I think that was a very easy, probably not one that was, they looked at us and said, that's one of the reasons why we're going to make this decision. But I feel that it definitely helped.
Yeah. Wow. It was like you were, as you started to date each other, you saw the things in common.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, our work is good.
Yeah, the work.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think for it's one thing like, hey, we can work together well and we can go on dates, but like to actually get married and to commit to one another, like you have to really have similar cultures and philosophies, and so I can see why you had to spend so much time going through that discovery process.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was something that I remember the first time that the CEO, Amir, when he came into our office, there's a mural on our wall that says, "Stay loyal to your creativity because it's a gift." It is a quote by Pharrell. Not many people know that, but I had it done up on the wall as a huge mural. And I think when he saw that, he immediately knew that there was a lot of aspects about our culture that were similar to his. We pursue good creative work, but at the same time, we realize that we're indebted to our creativity and we need to nurse it and we need to water it, pay attention to it.
So you've had some time to digest this process and you've kind of, had some time to think. What's the biggest kind of, this is amazing about life? Like what's the biggest, like, what you feel right now and what makes you happy about the decision you guys made?
I think the first thing that comes to mind that when I feel when I look at what has happened and digest it, because I still haven't really quite digested it.
Okay.
I think that my fiance Katie and my friends, I think they remind me that this is amazing because I'm still working. I mean I'm busier than ever. But when I slow down and think about it, I think what really makes me feel I made the right decision is the amount of creative work that I'm back into. As an agency owner, you are just as much operations as you are in your creativity that made you start that agency. I think a lot of people, yourself included there, and when you first start an agency, you're this, I have so much energy. Yeah. I'm going to chase every rabbit hole. I'm going to creatively do work that no one else can think of because I have the time and energy. And then after a couple years go by, you're like, oh, I need to do everything else that keeps the business running so that this creative energy I have can be service and I can continue to use it and apply it to my clients. So for me, now that I get to actually do creative campaigns a lot more of my workload and get to jump into creative meetings with my team that I would normally just let them run, which they still can do. I think for myself personally, that is very satisfying and it makes me feel really good. I think the second thing that I feel really amazing about in this acquisition is the resources. And I don't mean the resources from the acquisition. I mean the resources that I now have available to my team and myself. I can talk to a creative director in Salt Lake City who has worked on clients for 20 years and has worked on clients far bigger than the ones we have. And I can run a campaign by him for a local business in Vancouver, and he'll still take the same care and approach that he's approaching to a national marketing strategy for Starbucks for our client here in Vancouver that has maybe 4 or 5 locations. So that type of resourcing for me feels like I just have a bigger team. I feel like I'm looking next to me instead of looking over my shoulder and worried about resources. Now I literally have so many resources here. So that for me, in terms of creative talent, is a huge plus.
Yeah, I feel like so many agency owners are artists and creatives that have been forced to learn the business, the operations side, and it slowly has been sucking their soul until they can find that operations person or that team, right?
100%. And I think that honestly, when you say this, Darian, it's really, in my mind, a testament to the group that you founded and created with the agency owners group. I think that mentality is something that it exists with every single agency owner because no one's an operator. No ops person is going to start that agency. That agency is always going to be started by a creative first and someone who wanted to look at marketing a specific way and apply their knowledge and get better at what they do and then apply that knowledge towards a client. Then that person's forced, like you said, forced to operate a business. So I think that's a big plus for me.
So Daryl, are you an Android or an iPhone guy? iPhone, baby. So what are apps that you can't live without? What are the ones that you're on daily for business and pleasure? What are your kind of like go-tos that kind of help you day to day?
or I take pleasure in being on. I mean, there's
give me both. Yeah.
You know what? I think Reddit, the Reddit app for me, it is a huge source of information, but also a huge source of entertainment for me. I think, when you get those really depressing screen time reports every Sunday or Monday, Reddit's my number one. I'm on there when I want to find out more information about marketing. There's so many good subreddits on there, some secret that I'll keep to myself, but some that I'm open to sharing. But also, there's a lot of sources for news. So it's the first thing I open when I read my news over a coffee in the morning. I go to all the subreddits I normally check up on. And it's a great place for anyone who uses Reddit. They know it's just the ultimate forum. It's where things go viral first before they go viral on social.
Are you a contributor as well? Like, are you on there asking questions, or are you more of like a listener?
I actually have a account that's for. I have multiple accounts. So I have an account for contributing. I have an account for creeping. And I have an account to get into arguments with people.
Okay.
Yeah. The account that I get into arguments with people, I definitely enjoy the most. I am not a troll. I like to have debates, but a lot of the times I debate with trolls. So I don't want to do that on the same account that I share pictures of my dog on, because I don't want to have someone figure out who I am on it. I think that anonymity is definitely a subculture aspect of Reddit that every Redditor knows. That's cool. Another app that I use daily is YouTube. From, again, an information and collection standpoint, I'm able to get my news. I'm able to find out about marketing campaigns. And I get to see, I love YouTube pre-roll. I know a lot of people hate it, and anyone with an ad blocker definitely does. But for myself, I look at ads in their entirety. I'll only skip an ad if it's a bad ad. I'll just go, oh, that's a bad one, and I'll skip it. But if it's a good ad, I'll watch the whole thing. I'm like, what is their objective? Where's the call to action? How did they do this? What's the budget like on these things? So for YouTube, for me, definitely my number two. I don't think I have a third most used app. Email, my Mac mail app.
And then what about like e-newsletters that you kind of recommend, or books, or where else do you go for inspiration to keep you kind of like, on the pulse of what's happening?
So I use Reddit for a lot of this, absolutely. But I do have some websites that I like to go to. I will be honest, a lot of these websites you've recommended to me, and I've used them to find out more. So I love the search marketing website. I love Business of Vancouver. I love all the small business in Toronto, all of these that exist for local Canadian markets. I look at them because I'm interested into what the small, medium-sized businesses are doing in there. From a book perspective, right now I'm reading Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. Phil Knight. I think that needs to be edited. I'm currently reading Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
It's a great book, man. I stayed at an Airbnb, and it was in the Airbnb. And our baby, like I think our second baby, was still really little. And every time we go down to nap time, I'd crack open the book, and I read it over a weekend. It's incredible.
It's a book that I inherited through my engagement with my fiance. She brought into the household, so I'm very lucky there.
Very cool. Very cool.
In terms of books too, I'll be honest as well. I read a lot of fiction, so I use my internet for nonfiction, and I use my reading for the escape.
So, what, like teen fiction or young adult fiction? What's kind of your go-to?
Sci-fi.
Yeah. So, Daryl, marketers that are listening and watching, what's your advice for what's coming down the road? What's coming down the pipe right now that we need to keep an eye out for?
Great question, Darian. I think right now, to answer that question correctly, we have to pay attention to the current landscape of businesses and how we're marketing for them. So, I'm talking about COVID, and I'm talking how that has affected marketing. Right now, we're in what we've told our clients is phase 2 of a content pivot that needs to happen due to COVID. So phase 1 was the back in March, early April, when obviously every industry was impacted by social distancing. And that phase 1 content pivot was about changing all of your content that was call to action into education posts to let your communities know what you are doing as a business in terms of shifting your business model and what you are doing as a business to service your customers, as well as keeping your staff safe. We're now in phase 2. So phase 2 is started in early April and is going to continue until we all go back to normal. Could be next month, could be next year from the kind of reports that I'm reading right now. So phase 2 content in the marketing world is about leaning into that everyone is on their phone. Everyone is, screen time consumption has gone up. And here, actually, I can pull it up. Let me read right off the document that I'm reading right now. So in phase 2 right now, what we're telling all of our clients is the right messaging and the right timing is the most important conditions to look at when you're looking at your content. So during this time, it's crucial for brands to develop a short-term plan that takes into consideration these following points. Working from home is the new normal. Mobile screen time is up exponentially. Audiences are bored and want to be entertained. Audiences are open to sharing their content through social. I don't know about you, Darian, but I've never shared food videos and food photos prior to COVID-19, and now I'm showcasing those things through my social. Social feeds will be more cluttered from brand content. Everyone is going through the similar scenarios, challenges, and struggles at home. Everyone who has a kid is now working while their kid's at home. Everyone who has a significant other is now living and working with that person all day. And then the last thing here is no live content can be created. So no live action content can be created, or if it does, it's extremely limited. Photography, videography. I'm sure you're in the same boat. It's hard to get a photographer to do a shoot now, and nor do you want to put them in that position. You want to abide by it. So that's the landscape that you need to evaluate right now when you're thinking about your marketing content. So what we've been telling our clients and recommending to them during this phase is utilize this phase to use content that you've never thought of using before. So interactive social campaigns is a huge aspect that we're telling our clients to focus on. So interactive being gamification or turning your content into something that an audience member can answer yes or no to. So these are built into a lot of the platforms that our clients use every day, like Instagram, Facebook. They have their own natural to platform interactive stickers, polls, questionnaires. It's a great time to start utilizing this. Another thing that we are recommending to our client is now is the time to ask for UGC campaigns. So we were on a call with Bootlegger the other day, and we recommended to them to start asking people to share content that they would never have asked before. I've seen this meme. I know you've probably seen it too. It's the one where it's like it shows someone getting ready, and it's like, I can't wait to get ready to go to the living room. So it's leaning into this social distancing that has to happen. So if we can ask for that type of content from our audience that's all going through those same things, then it strikes a nerve point with them and they want to contribute. Another thing that we're suggesting is leaning into animations and motion graphics. So right now, because of the social distancing and the challenge of creating live content, brands and agencies to start looking towards whether it's simple animation all the way to pretty robust animation as a way to fill that content gap during this time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those are really great ideas.
In terms of apps and different trending pieces of content to look at for marketing, we're not even suggesting these to our clients. We're just looking at the current landscape of marketing, because I think that any sort of technology or introduction to a new social platform at this point, it's going to be successful only if they take into account the current landscape. Yeah.
So Daryl, serious question. TikTok, have you got addicted yet? Are you on there?
Oh man, I was on TikTok just to learn about it for several months.
Yes.
Obviously, we need to know how to market through that platform. As a personal user, I do not like it. I appreciate its value and what it brings to the people that do like it. I also appreciate the value it brings to brands that need to get conversion and impressions through that dashboard. But as a personal user, I don't contribute. I am not someone who likes to be in front of a camera. I'm sure some agency owners can relate. You're amazing on camera, Darian, so it's different. But for myself, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I want to be behind the person behind the camera.
Yeah.
And so for myself, TikTok as a platform, unless I'm start a TikTok account for my dog, I'm not going to be uploading many posts of myself.
It's been fascinating to watch the I haven't made a TikTok yet, but I've been consuming them and find them fascinating. Kind of like it's like the iteration of Vine, right? And so but just what happens during COVID, right? Like the Tiger King kind of growth and fascination with just people are bored looking for stuff to do. So it's great that you're getting your clients to provide good, educational, fun content.
I read something that was about Tiger King that I found really interesting, and obviously COVID contributed to it blowing up. The week that social distancing happened, it was released on Netflix, so that definitely helped. But then another parallel that I've been reading about is that people love Tiger King because it draws a direct parallel to the story of American politics in Hillary versus Trump.
Oh, interesting.
Hillary Clinton versus Trump, and that whole narrative of their battle. And that's why people adopted it so quickly, because they had just gone through this battle.
Wow. This is awesome. Yeah. Well, Daryl, I really appreciate you being on the show. It's a dream come true. I love we get a chat off camera and outside the show, but thank you so much for sharing so many ideas, so many resources, just even telling your story and announcing to the world here about this acquisition and this, joining of forces. And huge congratulations on that. And I'm so excited to see what you guys are going to be up to in the years to come. So appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Anytime, Darian. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching Marketing Jam, and we'll see you next week on The Jam.